Wrestling fans, WWE has done something this past week on Raw that didn't make me happy, makes me sad, makes me cringe, really puts me in the dumps going into Super Showdown tomorrow morning, which I will be getting up to watch at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'll be tweeting live, and I'll be putting my reactions on Facebook as well if you want to follow along with me at 2007 Webby. And tune into the review immediately following right here on YouTube. But WWE has done something so cringeworthy for the second week in a row that some people might find it laughable. Some people might find it funny. Some people might get happy over it. But it's really just for the second week in a row, they have hit their lowest rating in the 25 years that show has been on television. For the second week in a row, you have got to be kidding me, WWE. You know, I say that it makes me sad, that makes me cringe, and all this stuff. In reality, I just want the show to be better. I tune in every single Monday night wishing that the show would be better. Wishing that they would do more with their product than have the Dogs of War versus the Shield. Because in actuality, and we all know this for those of us that tune in to Monday Night Raw, the only two things that show has going for it right now, what little it has going for it, is The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. And the Dogs of War and the Shield. And yes, I am saying The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels because ultimately that's where this is going to lead up. Now, we're going to dive into why they hit their lowest of lows for the second week in a row. And I'm not going to give you the excuse that a lot of other fans have been giving them, that the WWE themselves, I'm sure, is probably giving it. Monday Night Football is on. MLB playoffs are on. Blah, 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 blah. This is the time we get to take a break and go to sleep because it's the fall. Before the Royal Rumble gets here. And then we get to pick up pace because we're headed towards WrestleMania. Right? No. Absolutely not. That is not why this show is in the tank. That's not why this show is in the isolation tank by itself. And it's also not, and the reason also is not because some people have Hulu and Netflix and just watch stuff on the internet like YouTube and things of that nature. It is not that. I don't want to hear that excuse. I don't. First of all, as I stated earlier, the two things that this show has going for it, you got the Shield and Dogs of War. You took that rivalry, and you have that rivalry, WWE, consume the entire show. The entire show. How are we supposed to stay intrigued in your product when your entire show is pretty much wrapped around one rivalry? Now, don't get me wrong, wrestling fans. Don't get me wrong. Because some of you are probably going to backtrack me and say, well, Webby, you're the one that said that you wish WWE would have more than just one segment, storylines throughout the show. Yes, I did. I did say that. That makes for more intriguing rivalries. But does that mean that you take one rivalry and you consume it throughout pretty much the entire 3 hours? Absolutely not. You do not do that. By doing that, you waste away your other talent. You have back-to-back matches. Back-to-back matches this past Monday of the Dogs of War and the Shield. You know, if you wanted to spread out the entire rivalry, you could have had a match at the 7 o'clock hour, the 8 o'clock hour, and the 9 o'clock hour. That's just my point of it. Now, for the past, 4 or 5 weeks, something like that, we've seen glorious Bobby Roode and Chad Gable take on the Extension. Seriously? You expect us to get emotionally invested in this? No. How can we get emotionally invested in a rivalry with two teams that are going nowhere? Two teams that are going nowhere. Now, some of you are probably going to say this. Well, Webby, the only way you can get those tag teams somewhere is by sticking them in a rivalry and having them grow. Good point. But let me tell you something, okay? When you have a team like Bobby Roode and Chad Gable that is ultimately just going to be disbanded, and Bobby Roode is probably going to turn heel on Chad Gable, and you have the Extension that is wasting away until they get released, more than likely, this is pointless. It's a filler for the 3 hours that people either go to the bathroom on, or they go get something to drink, or they go get something to eat, or they flip the channel and WWE loses ratings. Right? Or then there's Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, who in some people's estimation is absolutely tremendous. And then you have others that look at her as the female Brock Lesnar. Now, some of you might say with this one, how can she be the female Brock Lesnar? She wrestles on Monday Night Raw. She's wrestled at a house show, and she's on TV virtually every week, whether she wrestles or not. right? Let's be honest here, wrestling fans. Let's be honest here. She is doing nothing more right now at this point than keeping that title warm. She is holding that title tight for the Queen, Charlotte, at WrestleMania 35. That's it. There's not one person in WWE's mind that will take that title off of her. And you look at everything that WWE's done with her so far, and you think that's going to intrigue anybody that watches wrestling today? Give me a break. Could give you a laundry of a number of reasons. What about the fact? What about the fact that WWE has failed miserably, especially on Raw, to create and connect their superstars with their fans? Point taken. The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Kane still on Raw, coming back and being the best segment on the show. Best segment. Which tells you one of a few things. Either one, WWE doesn't know how to make a superstar in 2018, or two, they do not want them to be as big as the superstars of yesterday. It's one of those two reasons. I can't think of any other reason why. Now, this entire podcast, you have heard me gripe, moan, groan, complain. And yet, you'll still see me watch Monday, won't you? You'll still see me do a review on Monday. But I do. Number one, because I've been a wrestling fan for 30 years. 30 years I have been a WWE fan. I remember watching the very first Monday Night Raw. The Undertaker and Damien Memento main eventing. Now, I continue to watch, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face, and I know there's others out there that's like me. Because I want it to get better. We all want it to get better. And you know, for those of you out there that say that Monday Night Raw is good, that pour out positivity to Monday Night Raw, that point out some positives to Monday Night Raw. Okay? Now, I'm not going to sit here and call you stupid and call you dumb and things of that nature like I know some other people do. I'm not doing it. You have your own channel, or you have your own social media, Twitter or whatever. It's your right to do that. And I just have this message for you. WWE does have its positives, its ups and downs, as what culture would say. But pointing out both sides, which is what this channel does, is okay too. It doesn't hurt to point out what's bad in something and what's good in something as well. It really doesn't. That's my message to you. For those of you that doesn't see anything negative about WWE, but you have your own opinion, and that's good. That's why you got your own channel. And you let me know what your opinion is in the comments below about Raw hitting its lowest of low down in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to do everything that I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. And of course, until I see you again, this is Webby, and I'll catch you on the other side. Talk to you later.